Grand Rising family, joyous rising, great rising, happy Friday. Yay! Happy Friday, family. I hope everyone's doing well. Let us know where you're hailing from. It's so good to be here. Check in, family. It is a beautiful Friday, AM Friday rising here outside of Houston, Texas, where I'm on vacation with family. I hope you're having a wonderful time where you are. So check in, let us know where you're hailing from. You guys know I probably won't be on too long since I am here with my family, but I wanted to check in and let you all know what I've been hearing about what's going on geopolitically and mostly here in America as it relates to our freedom, sovereignty, and prosperity. So, hi, family. It's so good to see you all. I see Lisa Burns is in the house. Welcome. Maha Sings was like, I'm here waiting. It's so good to see everybody. Hi, firefighter. Um, yeah, you guys have been waiting. Grand Rising baby cakes. It's so good to see everybody. We do have things to do this AM or this rising, so I won't be on too long. Hi, Dragonfly. Grand Rising Marcia or Marcia, excuse me. Lisa Burr says she is hailing from what part of the states, Lisa? She says, I love you, Dr. Kia. I love you as well. Jax is in the house from Duval County in Jacksonville, Florida. It's good to see you as well. Hi, Jeffrey. Great afternoon to you too. He says, good afternoon, beautiful. Thank you so much. Hailing from North Carolina, I see Michelle Hicks Stokes. That's my sister. Grand Rising is good to see you. Also, Sham. Hello, Marsha is from what part? Oh, Rio de Janeiro. My daughter-in-law is from Brazil. So welcome. It's good to see you. Curtis is from New York. Hello, family. Ria is here. Oh, I love you. Thank you so much for complimenting my natural hair. I appreciate that. Jack says, Duval. Hi, Deborah from Pennsylvania. Oh, Dominican Republic. Who is that? Nina? Nina's from the Dominican. Was it Nina or Nina? Oh, NFN. Wow. Deborah is here as well. Oh, hola. Good to see you. You guys are amazing. I love you so much for being here. Live in the now or live in the now says hi Queen Kia, sending high vibrations from Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a place for you all to keep your eyes on because there was a lot of mining that had been going on there in previous decades, but it had been shut down once we came off the gold standard. Now what you're going to see is Las Vegas actually exploding with more mining, silver mining, gold mining that's going to happen there. Also, a lot of those casinos were owned by Saudi Arabian princes, and those casinos are going up for sale. And so all this nefarious activity that was going to go on or that was allowed to happen is going to cease. So Las Vegas, you guys are going to do well. Also, we know that that area had been declared a desert, Nevada, California, Arizona, but we know it was a man-made desert because billionaires were holding back the water. Now, with this new administration and a new benevolent people being in power, along with the Grand Army of the Republic and interdimensional beings that are here, they are going to release that water into those so-called desert areas, and that those areas are going to just blossom with flowers and plants and life and money and wealth. So Las Vegas, look, within the next 5 to 10 years, you all are going to be amazing as it relates to the financial and economic landscape there. So good place to be. Also, United States Treasury, I'm hearing they've been hosting lots of meetings over the last 10 years in Las Vegas, Nevada. So it's possible that that will be the new home of the United States Treasury Department. So good for you all that are in Las Vegas, Nevada. Wow. Thank you so much for checking in. Jeffrey is still holding yes, his currencies. Please do. Love Being Nubian says, Doc, you are looking fabulous as usual. Thank you so much. Love Nubian is our moderator. So please continue to keep your vibrations high, even in the chat, and be respectful because Love Being Nubian make sure that the conversations flow respectfully and just being pleasant. So please make sure you respect the moderators and each other. Hit the Like button, family, subscribe to the channel. We are beyond 10,000 subscribers, which is amazing because this is at least the eighth channel that I've had to start since I started my channels a couple of years ago, but now here we are. We started from zero to now we're at 10,000 in just a few months. So thank you all so much for your respect and just coming on to check in and see what we're talking about. Lay says, as of February 20th, under 31 UCS 3124, exemption from taxation is going to go. Look it up. It went into effect yesterday. Exemption from taxation. That's awesome. Grand rising to you too, Solo Queen. Michael's in the house from Dallas. I was in the Fort Worth area just a couple days ago visiting my family, and now I'm outside of Houston. So I love your state. It is a beautiful, beautiful place, Michael. Thank you for checking in. Greetings from Sweden. I see Spiritual Viking is here. Thank you so much for coming all the way in from Sweden to see how we're doing and what's going on in the news. Somebody says, I got something of Cuban dance, now country dance. Yeah, I was dancing with my Cuban instructor doing salsa. What was it, just last week, Sister Marcia, and now we're going to be doing a country dance here in Texas. Hey, everybody, keep checking in. Finally alive. Hi, Sister Annette. It's so good to see you. You're here. You made it. So, family, we've got some wonderful news. Keep checking in and conversing with each other, because I know you guys are listening to me, but you're also encouraging each other and sharing some of the news about what's going on in the world. So I appreciate that. Biggie's mom passed. Biggie, Love Being New says, sad news. Biggie's mom passed. You mean Biggie as in Biggie Smalls? Wow. Well, we'll be sending up prayers and positive energy to the family, that, the Most High and our ancestors comfort them during this time. Oh, so let's see what else. Hit them up, family. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. How will you exchange in Brazil? Family, can you answer that? We will all likely exchange at the same time by going to exchange centers, wealth management centers, or banks. So, oh yes, Biggie Smalls' mom passed. Wow, I'm so sorry to hear that. So, family, thank you so much for joining us. It is Friday. Yay! Woo! Can you believe we're almost at the end of February? This is February the 21st, 2025. The time now is 12:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What do I desire to talk to you about today before I have to leave with my family, go take care of some family business, is that President Donald Trump is making moves towards putting us back on the gold standard. We've known for a long time he was going to do that. He's been talking about going back to the gold standard since his first administration. Remember, he nominated Dr. Judy Shelton to be the chair of the Federal Reserve because she has a doctorate in economics and business, and she is a gold bug, meaning that she believes in gold as money. She knows that the fiat-based system that we have been on is destructive. It is an enslavement system, and it is not viable. So Dr. Judy Shelton and he were making moves back in 2016, 2017 to restore us to the gold standard. But of course, he had some fighting, some drawbacks, and he had the whole deep state against him that was trying to prevent him from doing that. Well, the United States government, though, behind the scenes has always known that we'd have to return back to the gold standard since we were taken off by Woodrow Wilson in 1913. And they've been making plans to restore us back to the gold standard. So remember, this is something that is unsustainable, a fiat-based, debt-based system. Okay. Under the cabal, the United States Incorporated, they were just printing out as much money as they could. Okay. But if you read the Road to Ruta theory, which I encourage you to do if you're interested in the gold standard, and you follow Bix Weir, B-I-X, and his last name is Weir, W-E-I-R, on YouTube and on the road to Ruta.com or Road to Ruta podcast on YouTube, you know that the Federal Reserve behind the scenes were printing money like crazy, but all along they said we have to return back to a gold standard because printing money is unsustainable. Printing money to oblivion that's backed by nothing makes no sense. So they have been planning to decimate the old system anyway and return us to the gold standard. Read The Road to Root of Theory. It talks about it extensively. And we know by looking at history that at the end of every empire, you see these people rack up the debt, spend as much money as they can, then they crash the system and return to a sustainable system, the gold standard. That's called the crack up boom. You print as much money as you can, you rack up the debt, and they will buy themselves some source resources, and then you just crash the system because it's unsustainable. So that happens at the end of every empire. We are at the end of the Roman Empire and the United States Incorporated, which is an extension of the Roman Empire. And that's why we see that happening. Remember, Janet Yellen was saying, she was saying, we've reached the debt ceiling. She was saying that under the Biden administration. She said it again just the day before President Trump came into his second term. We've reached the debt ceiling. We've got to do something. We've got to take extraordinary measures to make ourselves whole. And so what she had anticipated was that, and this is what she recommended, they actually take money, steal money from the retirement of federal workers in order to make the government whole. And you know that wasn't going to happen. That was not going to go over well, okay? And as a matter of fact, if you look at the article that I showed you by Durden, who was the author of this article in Zero Hedge, it said that whenever you have insurmountable debt, the best way actually to mitigate that is to do a debt jubilee. And in that Zero Hedge article, he said, we are about to experience a debt jubilee in biblical proportions. Are you ready? So you get a debt jubilee, you give a debt jubilee, and according to Durden, this particular author, this is something historically they've always done since biblical times, to just let the debt go, to just forgive the debt, because you've reached a debt ceiling that's so high that it's hard to pay off. So he asked, are you ready for this to happen? At the same time as a debt jubilee happening, what makes sense is to return to the gold standard. Now, somebody had asked a question in the comment section about will I go over cancellation of debts again? Yes, I did a podcast on that said that a cancellation of debt was coming, that President Trump and his administration had told debt collectors to stand down. And I also gave in that podcast that I did a list of FTC or Federal Trade Commission banned debt collectors. Now, that list is not exhaustive. So I would encourage you to look at the list, but to know that there are more debts on that list that will be added to that list. So if you want to look at that podcast again, I will put it in the description section for you all, just so you can see what sources I use to back up my claims that says President Trump told all debt collectors to stand down. Here is the podcast here. If you go to my Dr. Kia Pruitt channel here at Dr. Kia Pruitt Official. Thank you for the Cash App blessing. I hear it going off right here. Scroll down a little bit. This is not on the live section. It's on the video section. You'll see me wearing a blue shawl. Right. Where was it? Right here. And it says Breaking Debt Jubilee incoming, collection agencies must stand down. So I will leave that again in the description section for you all to look at, and so that you can also look at the exhaustive list. Okay. So we've known for a very long time. Did I show you all that? I think I showed it to you. Where's the list? It's in that particular video. It's in this video right here, the list of debt collectors. This video is called Jubilee coming, collection agencies must stand down, FTC or Federal Trade Commission ban collectors list included. Here's the Jubilee article. Here's the debt collectors list right here. I'm gonna leave it under that video for you guys to see it. But for your sake, Let me see if I can pull that up for you, and I will put that in the chat for you guys as well. That particular band list. And you want to make sure you copy and paste it, because sometimes things of this magnitude, like this list, sometimes they will scrub it from the internet after we post this type of information. I've had that to happen on many occasions. Okay, here we go. So I did put it in the chat for you. So the United States government has known for a long time that we would leave the fiat-based system because it's unsustainable and return to the gold standard. And Trump, again, has been talking about returning to the gold standard for a very long time, since his first administration. And recently, actually last month in January, on January the 20th, there was an article that was published, Will Trump return us back to the gold standard? Because they know that he is a gold bug. If you recall, in 2011, he leased out the top floor of one of his towers to AppMex, which is an online gold dealer. And he leased out that floor of his tower for, I think, about 32 ounces of gold. And he said at that time in 2011, this is a precursor of what is to come. So here you'll see January the 20th, they asked the question in this particular article, will Donald Trump bring back the gold standard? And it says he's spoken very highly of the gold standard, but could he really bring it back? And here's a look at whether it's possible and what it can mean for the country. Of course it's possible. Why couldn't it? And if you've been paying attention, President Trump and Elon Musk are doing some amazing things already. Like, yes, promising to give every American, at least 78 million Americans, a check for $5,000 a month. Yes, that's true. I did a video on that 2 days ago. Okay, that Elon Musk found some money that was still left over from government spending that he said needs to be returned to the American people. And he said, we've uncovered at least $5,000 that can go to all the Americans that are of working age. So this whole discussion about gold is very, very important, because when you see them discussing gold and the importance of gold, and you know that gold is real money, a return to gold is actually a return to the republic, because the Constitution for our republic says that the only thing that can be used to pay off debts are silver and gold. And the Constitution for our republic also says that the dollar is a fixed weight in silver. And we know the dollar is a fixed weight in gold, which is why Alexander Mooney, Paul Gosar, and Andy Briggs introduced several bills to make or define the dollar as a fixed weight in gold. We saw Alexander Mooney, you see his name is Mooney, or Money with an extra O, introduced House Resolution 5404 in 2018. Then he came back in 2021, introduced House Resolution 9157. And then he came back in 2022 and 2023 with Paul Gosar and Andy Briggs, these representatives, introducing House Resolution 2435. All of these which they call the Gold Standard Restoration Act, to define the dollar as a fixed weight in gold, to align with the Constitution for our republic, which says that silver and gold are money, and Article 1, Section 10, saying that that's all you can use to pay off the debts. So a return to gold as money is a return to the republic. It is a return to our sovereignty, our freedom, our prosperity, and our peace. So this is why we see gold continuously hitting record highs, because now there's a talk about gold. There's a discussion about gold. There's a discussion about gold in America. There's a discussion about gold as it relates to lawmakers now saying we have to get the people off of this debt-based system. There is talks about gold with the BRICS coalition, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now that all of these nations have decided to stop trading with gold and to use their own currencies backed by gold, silver, palladium, and platinum, and all these resources, gold is increasing in value. Also, central banks are now buying up gold in record numbers, and they've been doing that since 2021. The Central Bank of Iraq, the Central Bank of China, the Central Bank of India. All of these central banks all over the world are amassing gold because gold is lawful money. Because anytime a bank wants to ensure the sovereignty and the well being of their country, they're going to make sure their central banks have gold. Also, not only are central banks hoarding up gold or amassing gold to themselves, but investors, private investors, are investing in gold because gold is a hedge against inflation. And business owners are now saying, look, what Trump's saying he's going to put tariffs on us. We're worried about, whether or not our money will be able to stretch. We don't know what's going to happen in the financial system. Everything is in flux. So when people become stressed out, afraid, or uncertain about anything happening financially, economically, or geopolitically, they rush to gold. So you have central banks rushing to gold. You have countries amassing their gold back to themselves, repatriating their gold back from the Vatican. You have investors investing in gold because gold is a hedge against inflation. You have everyday people just saying, my dollar is losing value. As all these nations are, deciding that they refuse to trade with the dollar. So my dollar is losing value. I'm going to put my money or my fiat into gold or silver, which maintains its value. And gold and silver also increases in value. So this is why you see gold continuously reach record numbers. As a matter of fact, if you look at the gold and silver price right now, where are we? Gold continues to hit new all-time highs. It just hit a new all-time high yesterday. I hope you all can see me. Okay. Here we are right here. I know I'm having some issues with the internet. Gold is at $2,937 per ounce. Silver is at $32.71. But just yesterday, gold was like what, $29.40 or higher? So most people know that gold will destroy the Fed or the Federal Reserve. But what about silver? It looks like we're forgetting about and underestimating silver. Silver, some say, will outperform gold. Whereas gold is used for money and jewelry, silver is used for solar panels, appliances, cars, catalytic converters. Silver is used for so many other things. As a matter of fact, we have silver receptors in our brain. Okay. And some medical practitioners have created healing modalities using silver because we have silver receptors in our brain. Actually, we have silver and gold receptors in our bodies. So don't underestimate silver, family. Silver is performing right now at only $32, $33 per ounce. However, some say once it hits $100 per ounce and goes further all the way up to $600 per ounce, silver could be what destroys the central bank cabal. So I would say keep your eyes on both silver and gold. They're both very, very important. But silver right now is more affordable. And right now, the gold to silver ratio is probably like 80-1, where it takes 80 ounces or more of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. Well, that gap is going to shrink. So for people who are not sure, should I get into gold or silver? If you have extra money, it might be a good idea to invest in silver, because as that gap shrinks to 30-1, then you can take some of that silver and buy gold when it's a little more feasible or economic. So here we notice that the price of gold continues to break records and new all-time high, but it's because the central banks all over the world are hoarding gold, mainly China in record numbers. Countries are hoarding gold and repatriating gold back to themselves. Investors are getting gold. Companies are also going into gold as Trump puts tariffs on them. And everyday people are saying, my dollar is losing its value. I need to put it into something that maintains its value, a hard asset, which is silver and gold or What else is another hard asset? A business, land, real estate, and such. So again, the price of gold will continue to go up because we know at some point you're going to have to revalue gold. As a matter of fact, economists are saying in order to pay off all the debts on the books that we have right now, you need to revalue gold between $10,000 per ounce and $100,000 per ounce. So if gold will be revalued, so will silver. Why is all this happening? Because the dollar is losing value. It's a basic economic principle. And yes, I took economics, that as the dollar loses value, silver and gold increases in value. So the dollar has been losing value for some time now with all of the money printing. And then you had the global shutdown, the global pandemic, where they were doing a whole lot of money printing, such that now the dollar is losing like almost all of its value. And then again, as we mentioned earlier, BRICS no longer trades with the dollar. So at one point, the dollar was the world reserve currency. And I know I've said this many times. What made the dollar, the world reserve currency was our agreement with Saudi Arabia to protect the Saudi kingdom in exchange for their oil and force all exporting nations to get oil from Saudi Arabia, but they must use the dollar to do so. And if they used their currency, it had to be pegged to the dollar. So what made the dollar the world reserve currency? Our agreement with Saudi Arabia. But that agreement ended. It actually ended 2 years ago when Saudi Arabia joined the BRICS coalition, when they said we're no longer trading with the dollar. We're going to go along with Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and we're going to become a part of their alliance and stop trading with the dollar. That is what officially ended our agreement. It wasn't until last year that people really knew that the agreement was over, when they saw that that agreement between the United States Incorporated and Saudi Arabia was not renewed last June, as of June 29th. So when the agreement wasn't renewed, we knew, oh my God, that's it for the dollar, like officially. The dollar no longer has its power. So that's what gave the dollar the world reserve currency status. That's what allowed the United States Incorporated to have financial and economic hegemony. That is what made a lot of economists panic and say, oh my God, we no longer have that agreement with Saudi Arabia to protect the Saudi kingdom and get oil from them and force all nations to get oil from them using the dollar. Now that's over. No more do we have that agreement. So economists were like, now that BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, with Putin, the president of Russia, as the head of that, inspiring Saudi Arabia to join them, and then all exporting nations to join the BRICS coalition, that will decimate the dollar. What's going to happen in America? Economists were saying. They were like, oh my God, we're going to experience an ICE 9 scenario where everything will freeze, everything will stop, all the banks will collapse. People will try to go to the banks, their ATM cards will stop working. The federal government doesn't even have money. And as an aside with all of this, the federal government can't pay its debts. The economy in America is going to go bonkers and everybody's going to be broke, is what the economists were saying. Well, here some of us were saying, this little low voice, we're trying to be low, but we were like screaming, like, do you think America is going to be left out with all the gold we have in this Grand Canyon and all the gold we have flowing through the Colorado River and all the gold that we have in some of these areas? Like some people said there's some in Fort Knox and some say there's not, but on military bases, do you really think that the greatest country in the world, America, the old world, okay, according to biblical maps, the first world, the first place, the ancient dynasties where all the gold, silver, precious metals, rare earth minerals are located, you really think we're going to be left out? No, ma'am, and no, sir. Okay. And along came the Grand Army of the Republic, tapping on the shoulders of Donald Trump, saying, you're a businessman. You understand and overstand how the Federal Reserve is actually a nefarious entity. They really don't have any money. They've been doing all this money printing. You understand all of this. You know how to bankrupt the system because you are the bankruptcy king. You are a businessman, an entrepreneur who has a degree in economics. Your whole staff that you're trying to put in place know how real money works. We're going to use you to destroy the system. and to take us back to the gold standard and to restore our great, amazing republic. So, the United States government, again, has always known that we would return to the gold standard since Woodrow Wilson took us off in 1913. Right after that, he locked up the Grand Canyon. Why? Because there's gold in the Grand Canyon. And as a matter of fact, President Trump was the first president to actually ask for an audit of the gold in the Grand Canyon in his first administration. And I believe he got it. So, right after that, they locked up the Grand Canyon right after we came off the gold standard in 1913. This is why you can only hike in certain areas in the Grand Canyon. This is why there are certain areas that they say you can't go into, because you have gold there, you have pyramids there, you have ancient mummies there, ancient artifacts, you have treasuries all along the Grand Canyon, all throughout that area, because that is part of Egypt, the old world. The biblical Egypt, the biblical Jerusalem, and all of these places that are in the Bible actually are right here in America. And if you look at the ancient maps, it will tell you that. So what we do know is that President Trump has been auditing the gold and trying to figure out, since his first administration, what was going on there. And now Trump is saying that he is going to Fort Knox and some of the other military bases to see if the gold is there. And he said, and if it's not there, then we're going to be very upset. So this whole taking down of the deep state and getting rid of the fiat-based system, the Federal Reserve, the central banking system, is going to be uncomfortable for some people, because you have a lot of people working for the federal government. You have a lot of people that were paid off, that were allowed to close their eyes and act like they didn't see certain things. You had a lot of people in the federal government participating in nefarious activities. So before I show you the video where President Trump says he's auditing the gold in Fort Knox, I want to show you something about how this takedown is massive. It was a beautiful thing that President Trump put Elon Musk over the Department of Government Efficiency in order to downsize the government. Why does President Trump and Elon Musk want to downsize the government? Because they are not operating according to our republic or the Constitution for our republic. The government is actually a bunch of fake agencies that incorporated themselves, okay, with their own EIN number, their own Dun and Bradstreet number, and creating their own statutes, codes, and legalities, and forcing us to abide by them. What do you mean, Pruitt, by these fake government agencies? Well, I mean things like the CIA. Isn't that a fake government agency? Okay, because it's not part of our republic. It's not part of our Constitution. They're not constitutional. What else other than the CIA? Look at this. Donaldo Trumpo, which some people say that is President Donald Trump's burner account. He had one on Twitter. He has one on Truth Social. The FBI. See what he says about the FBI? He calls it SHIT. Why? Because the Federal Bureau of Investigations wasn't operating for our good, on our benefit. Okay, the FBI, the CIA, the IRS, Homeowners Association, the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. Many of these agencies created themselves, empowered themselves, made money, and did all types of things with the money, and then came up with all these legality statutes. I won't call them laws, because laws are something that lawmakers create that are based on or founded upon the principles and precepts of the Constitution for our lawful republic. Statutes, codes, policies, legalities, what's legal relates to what is in alignment with the United States Incorporated and their Constitution of the United States Incorporated that was incorporated in 1871. Legal, Constitution of the United States Incorporated. Laws, lawful, in alignment with the Constitution for our republic and constitutional law, the Constitution for our republic. So again, Many of these so-called government agencies, FBI, CIA, etc., I have a list of 441 of them, created themselves, came up with their own legality, statutes, and codes, and then said if you don't abide by them, they will sic their policy enforcers, known as police officers, on us and make us go to jail and pay fines. Well, the Supreme Court of the United States this summer overturned the Chevron doctrine because, according to the Chevron doctrine, all of these government agencies could create their own policies and force us to abide by them. The Supreme Court of the United States said the Chevron doctrine, Chevron deference, whatever y'all want to call it, is now declared unconstitutional and treasonous. Therefore, they must be dismantled. This happened this summer. So if you want to look at a list of those 441 agencies that I have uncovered or discovered that must be dismantled since they are now declared unconstitutional and treasonous, I would encourage you to look here on the Dr. Kia Pruitt Show. You can go to, you see video, shorts, live, go to the posts. They used to call this the community section, and scroll down. And as you scroll down, I will have a section on there that says, here is the list of 441 government agencies. I'll see if I can bring it up for you. So what happened was, whenever you were told that you must have a driver's license in order to travel. We don't drive, we travel. Traveling is commercial. Most of us aren't driving. We're not doing any commercial business. We're traveling to see our friends, see our family. You have a right to travel. Well, the DMV says everybody has to have a license to travel, which is unconstitutional. If you try to appeal that or go against that, then you will get a fine. You might even go to jail, okay? But the Chevron doctrine said that we had to abide by any of those legalities because they were the experts. And when you went to court, the judge would defer you back to those agencies because they said they were the experts. That's why they called it the Chevron doctrine. Now, the Supreme Court of the United States is saying that all that is unlawful, illegal, and unconstitutional. So I'm trying to see if I can find that list for you. I know it's here because I just found it again early this morning, but I'll find it for you and I'll put it in the description section. You see, I have a lot of information here, but that list of 441 government agencies is here. I just didn't want to actually try to go find it because I don't have much time here, but it's here. I saw it this morning. So they would defer right back to them. So the Supreme Court of the United States said, now those agencies must be dismantled. And if there are any agencies that have some semblance of righteousness that could align with our republic and the Constitution for our republic, then some of those duties of those agencies will be absorbed by the republic. But the Supreme Court of the United States said those 441 government agencies are not government. They're not part of a republic. They're treasonous. They must be dismantled. And any judge that deferred back to those agencies whenever you went to court and said that you had to do what those agencies said, they are considered treasonous. And even any judge that knew of a judge that allowed it, they have committed what's called misprision of treason. So you see a lot of things changing with President Donald Trump and the Department of Government Efficiency as it relates to them downsizing the government since we've had the overturning of the Chevron doctrine from the Supreme Court of the United States. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency with Elon Musk as the head, has uncovered over 400 million credit cards responsible for 90 million transactions. Why in the world is the government spending so much money? What are they doing with all these credit cards? 400 million. Do you know how much they were probably getting away with? 400 million credit cards responsible for 90 million transactions. Musk is auditing the federal government. He audited the IRS already, and they had a fit, which is interesting because the IRS will audit you any day of the week. And the IRS was hiring 87,000 new agents in order to audit the American people. And they were given the command to shoot anybody on site if they didn't pay their taxes. Well, President Donald Trump put that to a halt. All those 87,000 new agents that were about to be hired, he said, nope, we're going to stop right there. And we're going to look for the records through these records in the IRS and audit you all, see what you all have been doing with the money of the American people. Musk went a step further and he said, I'm looking at every segment of the government. I'm auditing the government. So again, they found that the government has been spending insurmountable amounts of money trying to, I don't even think they were even trying to hide what they were doing, because who was going to call them to task? Who was going to do anything about it? Doge will announce changes to the credit card system within a week. This was published the 19th. 2 days ago, they uncovered over 4 million government credit cards responsible for 90 million transactions. The United States government currently has 4.6 million active credit card accounts, which process 90 million unique transactions for $40 billion worth of spending. This is crazy. So they're going to break down multiple federal agencies and their credit card use within the Department of Defense leading the way in both the number of transactions, which is about 27.2 million, and the number of individual accounts. What were they doing with this money? Doge activates, or their activities have come under some scrutiny, increasing scrutiny over the last few weeks, with opponents arguing that President Donald Trump has given billionaire Elon Musk too much power to shrink the size of the federal government. Okay, so why does the federal government not want to shrink? Why do they want to maintain so much power and control over we the people? Trump has not wavered in his support from these efforts, publicly supporting the Department of Government Efficiency's work, while also releasing a memo on Tuesday ordering the government agencies to be radically transparent with the American people about its spending. How do you feel about that, family? Finally, the government has to give an account to the American people. Finally. And I think that's amazing. Another thing that President Trump has allowed Elon Musk to do. See, Elon Musk is a billionaire. Allegedly, he's the richest man in the world. Who's going to fight him? Who's going to take him to court? Who's going to fight the richest man in the world? And now he has President Trump, his sidekick, really. 2 billionaires. And some people say, but Trump's not nice and he's erratic and he's hot-tempered. Yeah, and that's why I did a video 2 days ago, or might have been yesterday, that said that President Trump is the 21st century General George Patton, because he's not playing nice with these people. You can't be nice. You can't play patty cake bakers, man. Make mommy and daddy cake as quick as you can. First, you want to pat the dough, then you want to roll it, throw it in the oven as quick as you can. Nobody has time to play patty cake. The American people are tired of being debt slaves. So President Trump tasked Elon Musk with auditing the Federal Reserve. This is hilarious. He's auditing everybody as he's downsizing the government. Elon Musk revives a decade-old push to audit the Fed. And Jerome Powell, who was the chair of the Federal Reserve, is upset. He's warning everybody, oh my God, this is a step towards eliminating the central bank. Duh. We desire to get rid of the central bank. Absolutely. Again, a lot of this is happening on the heels of what the Supreme Court of the United States have already done. If you recall, the Supreme Court of the United States actually stated that state-sponsored banks can operate outside of the jurisdiction of central banks. State-sponsored banks can now have their own charter, their own rules, their own laws, separate and independently from the Federal Reserve, central banks, and central banking system, and they can issue out their own gold-backed currency. That just happened this summer. On the heels of that, we see Musk auditing the Federal Reserve. Excuse me. I know my family's probably like, what's she doing in there? So let me show you, in case you haven't seen this, because I keep reporting on, but people, they like to see proof. The Supreme Court this summer ruled that state-sponsored banks can disband from the Federal Reserve System and issue their own currency. I'll leave this in the description section for you. State-sponsored banks can issue their own gold-backed currency, bypassing the Federal Reserve. This was June 3rd, 2024. The ruling was just released on Thursday, May the 30th, 2024. They called that the end the Fed day. I was all over it on that day, reporting live. This is the end the Fed day. State-sponsored banks don't have to adhere to the Federal Reserve Charter. The states can then acquire gold reserves for their state banks. Why? Because I keep telling everybody, according to the Republic and the way things were before the bloodline families usurped authority from the Republic, all states in America operated as countries. That's why they have their own flags, their own rules, their own lawmakers. All states are their own country here in North America. Okay. So they require their own gold reserves. This is why Texas years ago said, give us our gold back. We're seceding from the Union. They knew they were their own country. And right after they demanded that the Federal Reserve return their gold back, that's when they sent all this harsh, inclement weather. That's when they had the ice storm. Okay, people didn't know that Texas was making demands way back then that was causing the Federal Reserve and the United States Incorporated to clap back and try to go against Texas. And state-sponsored banks can disband from the Federal Reserve System. That came out of the End of Fed Act Day on May the 30th, 2024. And then the Supreme Court of the United States overturned all the stuff the Federal Reserve was doing. So all President Trump and Elon Musk is doing is actually following the orders of the Grand Army of the Republic, who's really in control, and the Earth alliances that's saying all this stuff had to happen. Okay, so yes, it's going to be tough for a lot of people. It's going to be tough that the federal government is being audited. It's going to be upsetting for workers that's going to lose their job. It's going to be upsetting for people that's used to depending on the system and on the government. But you have to have some discomfort in order to bring about change. And it will only be uncomfortable in the short term. Elon Musk revives decade-old push to audit the Fed. He has reignited a long-standing debate about auditing the Federal Reserve. Come in. A topic that has consistently drawn the attention of both politicians and financial experts. Hold on, family. Hold on 1 minute. Okay, forgive me. So the Federal Reserve is being audited, and let me see. Come on in, Mom. Okay, family, I apologize for that. I'm going to get off here soon. The calls for more transparency at the central bank have sparked a variety of reactions, highlighting the delicate balance between government oversight and the Fed's independence. So, this has to happen where the Federal Reserve is being audited. And this is something actually that's coming on the heels of Representative who was his name? Thomas Massey from Kentucky. He actually introduced House Resolution 8421 a few years ago, and he called it the Federal Reserve Abolition Act. His legislation said it would abolish the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve and the Federal Reserve Banks. And I did a podcast on that when he introduced House Resolution 8421. So all of this, family, has been actually revving up for some time. And while I'm thinking about it, thank you all so much for sending me a Cash App blessing. I have to get off in just a few minutes, but I want to tell you all thank you because you're sending blessings and I want to acknowledge you. Let me see. Thank you so much, Sister Deborah. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate you, Sharita, Brother Arnold, Dennis. I love you. Jay, good to see you. Thank you so much for blessing with a Cash App. Kitty, Chief Mac, my son Dexter, and Rosemary. Thank you so much for sending me Cash App blessings. God bless you, having a smile on you. And for those of you who ask, my Cash App is $ MAMAKIA 13. That's $ Mama Kia 13. Thank you so much for your blessing. Creator, bless you, having a smile on you. Thank you. So finally, I just want to say that President Trump is taking steps to move us back to the gold standard. And as a matter of fact, he said he was going to Fort Knox to see if the gold was there. And when asked, what if it isn't, he said, then I'm going to be very angry. Okay, that's what we're in now. And I'm going to show you that now. He made that announcement the other day. Some people said the gold is not there. It's probably there. If it's not in Fort Knox, then it's probably underneath the tunnels, because we have gold, like I said, along the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon and underneath many tunnels. We also have rare earth minerals. As a matter of fact, 2.34 billion metric tons of rare earth minerals were discovered last summer in Wyoming, no less, just one state. So listen to President Trump, what he says, and we will end here.
We're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there. You know that? We're going to go into Fort Knox. Do you know about that? Sir, that was a bad bump.
Are they going to eliminate more national security positions, civilians there?
We'll see what happens. But one of the things we do want to look, I mean, we hope everything's fine with Fort Knox, but we're going to go to Fort Knox, the fabled Fort Knox, to make sure the gold is there.
Where would the gold have gone? Right up.
If the gold isn't there, we're going to be very upset.
He said
we're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
We're going to go to Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there. Then he said, "Oop, that was a bump. Did you feel that?" Why did he mention that was a bump? It just makes me think that there's going to be a bump in all this, something that just kind of shakes us up. He said, "Did you feel that? That was a bump." Yeah, we're going to go to the fabled Fort Knox. Why was it a fable? Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Chief Max in the house, reverence and all honor and praises to the chief. He said, but we're going to go there. And if the gold isn't there, we're going to be very upset. So family, all this talk about gold is important. Just know that they are returning us to the gold standard. Why? Because gold is lawful money. It is biblical money. It has been money for eons. It was money before the deep state took over and usurped authority from our republic. We are returning to the gold standard. The best way to prepare is first by knowing it's going to happen. And if you're interested, get silver or gold, or at least establish a relationship with your silver and gold dealers right in your community. You can get gold RM notes for as little as $3. That's 0.999 pure gold pressed onto a note. 24 karat gold, some is 14 karat gold, or get silver and gold coins or silver and gold bullion, or get sterling silver, whatever you desire. Even if you cannot, if that's not in your budget, it's okay. Just the knowledge and information, knowing that we're going back to the gold standard, means that our freedom, our prosperity is coming back online. It means that we're no longer be enslaved to the fiat debt-based system. So I'll come back on later, family, maybe even with Chief Mac, but we'll come back to talk about how our freedom, prosperity, and sovereignty are being restored. My name is Dr. Kia Pruitt, family. I hope you have an amazing, amazing Friday as the weekend has come in. I hope I've said something to raise your vibrations and inspire you to create the most amazing, magnificent life that you desire and deserve. I love you. Take care. Bye-bye. Talk to you later on this evening. Bye.